shit's getting weird. Part infinity. On this episode of Why the Whites Wonder. I wanna know what's the deal with white people in caves? What is the fascination with caves? If you're a caver, hit my DMs. I genuinely want to know. What is it about caves? When you guys see caves, you guys lose all function. When I think of a cave, I think of an animal's house. And I say, I'm not supposed to be in there. That's what I think of caves. So I want to know, like, what do y'all, like a caver, people that like to go in caves, what do y'all think about caves? I'll be awaiting your answers. But in the meantime, Why the Whites Wonder Certifications, Couples Edition.
I'm realizing that my black family, my African-American family, side of the family, my dad and his family, had a very different way of interacting than my quote-unquote white side of the family with the world in this way. In that, if my white side of the family was mistreated in some way, they had no problem saying, "Excuse me, you will not treat me like this." Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
Example, restaurant, bad service, or not even bad service, mistake. "Excuse me, you made a mistake. Thank you."
Yeah, you'll fix this now.
That wasn't the other side of the family would just
it'd be fine. Just leave it.
Just leave it.
Yeah,
We just eat it.
we just won't come back.
What?
Yeah.
That is so interesting.
So what you see high self-esteem, right? So in your normal average white community, you see high self-esteem and high confidence, right? The value of myself to know, no, I'm worth more than this. I value myself more than this, and you're going to value me equal or above my own value.
And it's not even wrong.
It's not. It's actually right.
Yeah,
even
it's a good thing.
Even if we do esteem ourselves, we don't have enough esteem to demand it of other
I think
people.
there is a difference between esteem and confidence too, because
there is.
Because
that's what
I
the thing
am
was saying.
in a class right now doing statistics on all the children, all different colored children. African American children measure the highest out of every single community in the United States for projecting confidence.
Yeah. So so in this,
I am a king and a queen. Like I gotta ask every black child at school, they know they are kings.
But that's not the question.
But that's not the esteem.
No, and that's not the issue. It's not that I don't know that I'm not. Like, I'm a father of 7, and I know that, and you better respect me for that. But if somebody says, "How much are you worth?" That's a question mark to me. Like, I don't know how. Not only do I not know what the answer is, I don't know how to answer that question. Like, I don't know how to tell you I'm valued at this.
It's just a totally different way of navigating life.
So I want to talk about this photo for a second. It's really interesting. So I wanted to talk about this video, and this happened at JFK, and it was a really interesting video. So here's this kid. This kid is climbing up the window. So the window of JFK's terminal is like this, and it's got these like little ledges like that. And so the kid keeps tossing his teddy bear up onto like the 3rd tier, and then he climbs the glass, and he goes up and he does this. And I'm watching this process go on, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm very amazed. I'm like, wow, this kid is so adventurous. He's about maybe like 4 or 5 years old. I think he's 5. And I'm like, wow, this kid is so adventurous and he's having fun. And I look and I catch eyes with the dad, and the dad's kind of smiling. And everything in my father nature is like, wow, like, just let this kid be a kid. In the middle of this airport, let this kid be a kid. And I look around and I see all of the people in the terminal that are also waiting for this flight that's been delayed. And they're just smiling, and everybody's just like, oh, this kid's so cute. But then this notion hits me, like, because I peep the black family next to me. And the black family next to me kind of has the exact same thought I'm having. Like, shit, our kids can't do that. And as I sit and I watch all these white people just stand around, and they're watching this kid climb, and he would fall down, and he would like fall and like make this big scene, and he would get back at it, and he would look at his dad, he would say something. I'm watching this whole process go on, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, all of these people are seeing this in the beauty of what it is, a kid being a kid. But if he was black, and every black person I caught eyes with had the exact same thought. But if this kid was black, and we were all like, this kid's cool. But at the same time, we're getting this like internalized frustration with the fact that we know damn well that our children could not do that. Because the moment you replace that white kid with a black kid, all of a sudden that child is misbehaving. Where are the parents to control this child? And it was so amazing to me to watch as he got the teddy bear. The whole terminal started cheering and everybody started clapping. And that every single black family thought to themselves, we could not do this. Our kids could not do this. And it broke my heart at the notion that as black parents, we police our children at a greater level because of what racism has afforded the perception of our kids' behavior as just misbehaving. It's just a sad reality. Live on, kid. I just hope we get to do it too.
Honestly, these two videos, you have a whole lot to learn, right? Especially when it comes to that whole cave thing. Why is it that white people are going to the cave? Like, you know, the whole time I was watching that video, I had my hat in my hands like this. I was scared. Because I wouldn't go into a cave for any reason. Cave are for wild animals, right? And again, in the second video, right, what that guy said really, really touched my heart. Because you notice that we, you know, black kids, we really, really did not really experience childhood like that. And that is based off of, you know, this whole segregation thing. It affected a black child, right? The black child will not do that because of, you know, he's scared. You know, he's been raised in a way that the mother wants to protect him, you know, at all costs. No, come this way, come this way. So it's totally understandable.
Hey, you ever wonder why? I'll tell you why. The why is about why African Americans are poor, living in inner city, bad housing, no money, economically depressed, bad housing, you name it, across the board. The why is because of the system in America that oppresses blacks. You know, recently, even in this time, in the last month, Navy Federal Credit Union was denying blacks home loans. To own a home is the way out of poverty. Education is like education. Having a home and being able to have your own land, your own property is a blessing. But we've been denied that time and time again. In the beginning, we were denied to even read as slaves, denied to even learn how to read. And then came along, we didn't want us to own land. We had businesses, they burned the businesses down. You have many examples of that throughout America where blacks were prospering and whites came and just burned the business down, killed the people. Who does stuff like that in a civilized society? When it comes to education, we had segregated schools. I went to a school where we had to wait to get our books from blacks, from the white schools before the blacks, but we had decent books. I was born way back in the day, as you can say. So this is the why that white people don't know why we're in the condition that we're in, is because of systematic racism throughout America. And it's sad that a country as great as America is discriminates against its own people, its own citizens. What have we done to destroy this country? What have we done to bring this country down? We built it. We built it on our backs. We built the plantations so that whites could have a place that they can have and raise their families while we were struggling to raise our own and feed our own. So the why is disparity is because economically we're depressed. We're rising up. Educationally we're behind because we're just getting up and getting into colleges. And even when it comes to housing, we had redlining where blacks could not purchase homes in a decent area. And when they could buy, they were burned out by the Ku Klux Klan. So you can't say, why you blacks are like this? Why you blacks are that? You have to look at your own history. And your own history tells that you've oppressed people that were human beings. You look at a third world country and say, you criticize them, but we need to look at internally how you criticize the black people here in America. That's pretty much my thoughts today. Check us out at blacksociety.net and tell us what you think. Bye.
Thank you for setting me up to talk about this. I know that you and many other Black people know the answer, but it is something that I'm still processing, and it hits me really hard in the gut. And so I want people to understand that I am answering the question, what do I know? I'm not speaking for anyone. Many commenters today have pointed out how many affluent Black towns have been created and destroyed throughout United States history. And most non-Black people know about the Tulsa Massacre, Black Wall Street, Lake Lanier. But it was many Black towns. One commenter said over 60. And it's not that some Black people sometimes were able to establish a successful community that accumulated wealth. It's that Black people were consistently able to go anywhere and together establish strong communities that accumulated wealth and had education systems and businesses and were thriving. And every time it happened, people destroyed them. And then as you progress through time, it becomes less acceptable to burn and flood and massacre entire towns. So again, you have the passing of the Civil Rights Act in 1964, and the United States opens the door to Asian immigration in 1965. The United States has a long history of using immigrants to get in the way of Black people. And so I think that this system of using immigrant-owned businesses in Black communities is designed to siphon wealth away from Black communities. And another commenter asked me, why do I think that people are afraid of letting Black people build their communities and accumulate wealth and to thrive? And we see it so many times. It's because they fear revenge, because they know what they have done to Black people. But again, we have been told that if Black people wanted revenge, it would have happened already. That is not what they want. And I think that people think that the violence and exploitation and abuse of power that they have exacted upon Black people and all Black, brown, indigenous, and people of color is a universal human trait. And that if anybody has that wealth and power, then they would return that evil in kind. But it's not. It is specific to, and all Black people want is to be allowed to thrive and accumulate wealth and exist as other people have been allowed to do. And again, please understand that I am answering the question, what do I think that I know?
What happened if a white enslaving woman got pregnant by an enslaved man? That is one of the darkest, most hidden corners of the history of slavery in America. Legally, the status or race of a child followed the mother. So if the mother was white, the child was free. If the mother was Black, the child was enslaved. Now, that law was created to protect white families from responsibility to the offspring of the men who frequently raped the women on their property. So if the mother was white, the child was free, that alone threatened the whole system of race and slavery. A mixed race child born to a white woman shattered that whole illusion of purity that white supremacy depended on. Families went to terrifying lengths to hide it. Sometimes women were sent away to give birth in secret, but worse, infants disappeared through infanticide or forced adoption. Other times, the child was passed off as a product of an affair with a white man because society could forgive a husband straying more than a wife's abuse of an enslaved man. But the real danger fell on the enslaved man, of course. Pregnancy was proof that things had happened. He could be accused of rape. He could be tortured. He could be killed, even though he had no power to consent in the liaison. For white men, the rape of enslaved women was normalized. For white women, exposure meant social ruin. For enslaved men, it meant mortal danger. Now, white women were just property in the social system of the time, but black people could be in mortal danger from a liaison like this. That's why this story is nearly invisible in our history. It was scrubbed away to protect white womanhood. I'm not an expert, I'm an avid learner, and I depend on your comments to help me learn. My profile is the same as my address in case I disappear from here. Find me and get curious.
So I just want to quickly talk about this division between black people and white people and how ridiculous it is. So this is my thoughts on it. Let me know your thoughts if you agree or disagree. So I believe that there's no such thing as black or white. It's just a label that got put on us 100 years ago, whatever, to try and separate us, to try and weaken us as a species. And it's working, because we all argue with each other about pointless crap. So I don't believe that I'm white. I don't believe that the whitest of white people is white. And I don't believe that the darkest skinned black person is black. We're all brown, all of us. We're just a different shade of it. We all come from Africa, so I don't know why we argue about that. It's a scientific fact. I'm a child of Africa at some point if you go far enough back. If you stick me in the sun, I'll go brown. Because that's what's meant to happen. It's your skin's natural defense to the sun. And the only reason that I'm white is because, I don't know, 10,000, 40,000, whatever years ago, my ancestors decided they were going to leave Africa and head north. And north means less sun. So I don't need the protection in my skin as much. Same with my nostrils, my nose changed shape because I had to breathe in colder air. I just adapted. Well, I didn't, but my ancestors just adapted to the environment. That's the only difference in us. We're all the same. We're all the bloody same. So why we argue about this and that and black and white, it's just ridiculous. We're all one species. And the sooner we realise that, the better it'll be. There's no difference between an Englishman like me and an African, except we've adapted to his environments. That's it. I don't get the need to argue about irrelevant shit like skin colour. It's just ridiculous. We're all people, we're all the human race. We need to get on, because there's far more fucking important things going on in the world that we as a species need to unite on than fucking skin colour. That's that.
You are a black content creator here on this app, and you start your videos with, "Dear white people, we don't want your advice." Okay? We don't want your advice. When you start a video like that, you immediately are putting all of us on the defense, because just like you can't help the color of your skin, we can't help the color of our skin. Some of the content creators that I have seen lately on this app, you guys are obsessed with us. You're obsessed. We're not spending our days thinking about you or how we can make offensive videos towards you. Dear black people, dear black women, or advice for black women. I'm not going to give you advice. I don't have any of your lived experiences, and I'm not going to pretend that I do. If I ever came onto this app and I said, "Dear black women, I'm going to hold your hand when I tell you this. you would immediately be put on the defense so fast. You'd be pissed because you're like, I'm not going to listen to this white woman give me advice on like my hairstyle, how I dress, how I talk, where I live, what I do. I saw a woman on this app yesterday, and the comments are they're not disappointing, because you have other black women in there, black men, that are all coming at this lady because she started her video that way. It's like, I don't need your advice. Why are you so obsessed? Why are you so obsessed with us and what we're doing?
Well, the reason that it is because it's always been popular, as far as I know, in my lifetime, for black people to pick at white people. Because black people for a long time have considered themselves a victim. And so now they're taking this opportunity to get 3, 4, 5, 600 years of reparations back from white people, which is so dumb. It's so stupid, because no person that I know that is alive today has ever experienced any kind of slavery, racism, and all of that stuff. And so now what's happening right now is it's called culture gatekeeping. And what culture gatekeeping is trying to control the narrative of how other people receive you based off of what you think is your culture. So, for example, there's a lot of black women that are wrong as far as understanding where cornrows came from, but right now it is super popular for black people to have braids and cornrows. So if they see a white person have it, then they're going to start off their video and say, "Dear white people," and then they're going to go into how it is that you're culturally inappropriate for appropriating their cornrows, right?
Seen this lady make a video about how biracial kids are putting down other biracial kids if you have a black mom and if you have a white mom. Now, does it make you any less or more black? I don't really think so. I think it's one half dozen of the other altogether. Now, when it comes down to culturally, there is a big difference. Your mother is your nurturer. It's the one that shows you how to go through life. I could tell just by the way you're talking, your mother was white. I could tell by the way it comes off. Like, there's just a certain energy a black mother's gonna give to their kid that a white mother can't give to their kid. It's just not there. And I'm not trying to speak for the entire community of black people, but a lot of the time, if a black man gets married to a white woman, he has to suppress some of his blackness to cater to that white woman and their family. It just happens. But as a black women were oppressed for so long, they will never change how they move for a white man. So a white man will have to accept this black woman, how she comes and how she wants to raise her family. Think about it like this. If your father is black and your mother is white, your dad liked your mother for a reason. There's certain characteristics of the white woman and the white people he enjoys. So of course the mother of his kids will be teaching the baby how to be a lot like her. So put it in reverse. Think about having a white dad and a black mom. The white dad probably really liked the blackness coming from that woman right there. He probably really enjoyed that he was with a black woman. It was probably his favorite thing in the world. So he allows her to teach that kid how she sees fit.
Why is it crazy to marry a black woman? I've been called racist, I've been called this, I've been called that, but I just don't see myself marrying any other woman. The culture is just different. The food is just different. The vibe is just different. The music is just different. And that's what I see for my future family, bro. Like, shout out to every other culture, shout out to every other race. Love y'all. But I'm gonna marry a black woman. There's too many black men out here that are marrying and dating the other races, and just for me personally, I will not. Shout out to y'all though.
Things I didn't know about black people because I grew up raised by my white mom and my black dad. I didn't learn this until middle school. My best friend, she had to educate me. I had no idea how frequently black people wash their hair, and I was way too afraid to ask. By the time I got to middle school, I just assumed that black girls washed their hair way less than black boys because black girls had different styles in their hair. And I knew that they didn't take these styles out every day, and I knew that they would mess up if they touched water. So I just did not know. My best friend had to tell me that every time she took her braids out is when she washed her hair. So it was like every few months or whatever. When I had my first boyfriend, he was mixed as well, but he had like type 4 hair and he had dreads. He's the one that taught me you can wash your hair more than every few months. he said I could wash my hair every day if I wanted to, but I don't have to. So that's when I learned that. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I didn't know how big church culture was in the Black community. My parents did not see eye to eye with religious values, so they just decided to not have me baptized or identify with a religion. My dad is Christian, my mom is Catholic. I ended up going to church with another one of my best friends growing up, and that was my first time experiencing like a Black like church session, and it was really interesting. It was beautiful. It was loud and rowdy, like I guess what you picture on the TV show. So I guess I wasn't expecting it to be such a close match, but it was, and it was kind of cool. Definitely had repast food, even though it wasn't a repast. Now this one's gonna stir up a lot of controversy. Up until I was like in late middle school, early high school, or actually past that, like my mid high school, I did not know that white people should not say nigga. I just thought, I don't know what the fuck I thought. I didn't think about it clearly. Like, I didn't know that that wet dog scent was exclusive to white people. Black people just smell like outside. I didn't know that Black moms did not play about their kitchen. My mom is very, if you hungry, go look for something to eat. Any white friends that I had when I was very, very young, their moms was the same way. When I met my best friend, I tried that shit. That shit did not end well with her mom. I really didn't know, though. She wasn't me. She just like, I really didn't know. The last thing I want to share is that I did not know how badly dark-skinned people got bullied for being dark-skinned. I never realized that this was a problem within the community until I was in high school. A boy that I was friends with that I ended up dating later on, he frequently used to get bullied for being dark skinned. And I used to just stand up for him all the time because like that shit used to blow me. I'm like, I don't understand. Like, and it would be the brown skinned kids telling him that. I'm like, bro, like what the fuck is y'all problem? Y'all almost the same color as he is.
So someone had asked me as a person who has one Black parent and one brown parent, what kind of anti-Blackness was I experiencing in my home? So first off, my dad was married to a Black woman, and yet he called her the N-word every single time that he got upset. The family actually referred to us as the N-word generation because my dad's the only one that reproduced with Black women. My hair was permed for a good portion of my life up until I hit like 10th grade, and then I went natural, and my father accused me of ruining my hair when I started wearing it curly. I wasn't allowed to wear braids and beads growing up because they were ghetto. I actually braided my hair one time. My hair was about hair. I went back to school with a bob because my father cut it off. I wasn't allowed to have nicknames because nicknames were ghetto and something that only Black people did. He voted for Trump. He once looked at my brother, who has a big ass afro, and said that my brother turned into the one thing that he hates. And when I said, what's that? He said a Black man. When Trayvon Martin was shot, my dad pretty much looked me in the face and said he would have done the same thing because all these Black boys look suspicious. My father's side of our family is very pressed about our features and the color of our skin and the quality of our hair. Honestly, I can go for days and I'm always willing to share because them sleeping with us does not mean that they're any less racist.
You see, this is part of the reasons why I will always say Black people should marry, their Black people, to be honest, and white people should marry themselves. At first, you all might be in love, but the thing is, it's okay to be in love, but is love enough to sustain what will happen in the future? Imagine bringing kids into the picture and all of a sudden the man you got married to, who was not a racist when you married him, turned into a racist. How would you feel? Imagine that child, the father hated them for being Blacks, but he was laying with a Black woman. He once told the Black woman he loved her so much and all of that. Sometimes, to be honest, if you're Black, especially Black American, I would say I don't support you actually having anything to do with the other race because I've seen even the biracial kids struggle as well. I wouldn't want to do that to my own child, right? Because it's really, really, really psychologically, draining to always get to, explain yourself why this is this, why this is this, why this. No, to be at peace, everybody, please, okay? Let's all, for me, that's what I think should be the best. Because all of these things, at the end of the day, you find out, oh, I love this person, and today we're no longer in love, or something happens. Maybe after you stayed for a while, and then everybody now is beginning to find out this person's weakness, and you no longer like the color that made. See, it's a lot and it's draining. I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments, right? Kindly share this video, like and subscribe. I want to know your thoughts in the comments. I am black and I love being black, to be honest. I love being black. I love black kids. I love black spouses. I love everybody black. Because I can't even start explaining the future. Period.